In this training video, I'm going to talk about how to create credit memos in OnePlace, the various ways to go about doing that. So, like in other videos, if you click on the plus sign, you can click on Create Credit Memo, or you can press Control F8, or if you were on the credit memos list, you can click New, and that will create a new credit memo. And I would like to mention that in the future, these will be combined into one list. So it'll be invoices/credit memos. And then when you click New, you'll have to select between, is it a credit memo or is it an invoice? But that's an option. Another way is if you're on a credit memo and you click New, then you can go ahead and create another credit memo. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And so I will pick a customer. And let's just come down here. Now you see here, unlike on an invoice, you have quantity ordered, quantity shipped. This is similar, but it's kind of in reversed. Quantity to return versus quantity we have actually returned. The reason we need that is if customers call and they want a request for like an authorization to return parts, if your company has a policy of requiring a number, an authorization number, you can go ahead and create the credit memo, give the customer the authorization number, and put down the quantity you expect them to return and the item that you expect them to return. And then that will kind of create a little placeholder for those parts when they come in the back door, without actually giving them a credit until you inspect the parts and put them back into stock and so forth. So that's what the whole to return versus returned. Let's just say we're going to return the old item. Let's say we're going to do this one, AC 1107. They have 3 in stock right now. And the return to warehouse is important. If you have more than one warehouse, you need to make sure that you're going to be putting it in the right warehouse. And if I'm logged in as, in this case, demo user, my default warehouse is the main warehouse. If my default warehouse was Long Beach, it would have automatically put that in there, but just be aware of that. So in this case, you see, just like on the invoice, there is no real extended total yet because we haven't actually returned them. So I'll go ahead and pretend like I've come back to this and now I'm going to return. And now I've got an actual total. And if I go to the actual item, I will be able to see on the stock tab 623, I can see that I returned that one right there. Now in the future, you'll have a description explaining which credit memo created this receipt and who did it and what date and time was it. Another way that is as good or better than that is to, let's go ahead and let's go to an invoice this time. Customer wants to return something on an invoice. So let's open up an invoice. And you'll see here that this is the record of what we sold it to them for. And so if I go ahead and I just, in this case, just one item, I could just click Create Credit Memo. And it's asking, well, do you want to return the entire invoice? If you click yes, a credit memo will be created for the entire invoice. I'll go ahead and say no. So in this case, if I wanted to, if I had several line items on this invoice, I could just come here and click the item that I wanted to return, change the quantity to return to the number I want to return. If I put something greater, it'll give me an error and tell me to fix that. But I'll go ahead and click on that, and I'll click on this button again. I need to commit it. you want to return the entire invoice? Again, I'll say no. Return selected items. Do you want to return just the items that have a quantity greater than 0 in the quantity return field? I'll say yes. And that will automatically create a credit memo. And it will, this time, it'll put the actual returned quantity in there. And if you look, you click on the little drop down button here, it shows me that this credit memo was generated from this invoice number. So that's kind of a quicker, easier way, I think, if you know you're going to return it versus waiting for it to come in. And last of all, another way, which I won't show you, it requires another training video, is if you have, there's actually two other ways I want to mention. One is if you have the optional customer portal website where customers can log in and search for parts, check for pricing, their pricing, check for availability. They can create quotes, they can create orders, and in that same portal, they can create credits, credit memos, or request for a return authorization. They can go ahead and do that, and that will create the credit memo for you with the return amount being 0. So that's a nice way to allow customers to do their own. And then last of all, if you have the optional warehouse automation system, warehouse management for scanning parts in and out of stock, creating delivery routes with GPS suggested delivery orders, which if you had a delivery of, if you had wanted to deliver 5 different orders, you can use that module to create the best delivery order. You can use that module for making deliveries turn by turn, stop by stop with GPS instructions. But you can also allow the driver with their phone to log in and to create returns there on site with the customer. So that's another way I wanted you to be aware of. That's another video as well. But those are the various ways to create a credit or part returns. And I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a great day.